What is happening, everybody? Welcome to the Cinefanatics. My name is Chris Adams, and I'm joined, as always, for our Bad Batch breakdown with fan favorite, Adam Witt.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars.
Wait, we're going to get copyrighted. Hold on, I can't do that.
And hey, did you see that evil Star Wars guy?
Oh, man, which one? There's a lot of them.
There are a lot, yes. And it just gets more evil as we're covering episodes 7 and 8 is what we're doing?
Yep, 7 and 8.
7 and 8. Yeah,
so
stuff gets real evil.
Real evil. A little bit different this week, guys. Usually we'd be doing this live. We're doing this as a record this week just because time is short.
I screwed it up.
Technology is crazy at times. I blame whatever the hotel you're staying in at right now.
Yeah, I'm traveling, and I was supposed to be here a day earlier and get everything set up, and then the plans changed on me. So we were going to go live yesterday, and I'm like, you're checking into the hotel, and I'm like, I'm just sitting down. I got everything set up, and I'm like, oh, no, the Wi-Fi password's not working. And I'm, the producer on this show is like, I know, everybody. I called him. We were trying to work it out, and I'm like, I called him. He goes, I know, everyone's calling me. I'm working on it. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, do you realize I'm supposed to be on the Cinefanatics right now? He didn't take that for an answer, so.
Wait, the Cinefanatics? Oh, my God.
Yeah, that'd be so funny. The producer's like, oh, hold on. Everybody stop. Adam's got to get on the Cinefanatics right now. Let me handle this.
What? I thought you were just going to hang out with some schmuck like Tom Hanks or something. No, you're with the Cinefanatics?
No. Cinefanatics, hold on.
Well, we're glad that it's still working out anyway, and we're still able to get the breakdown for 7 and 8 out, because these are some big episodes that we need to talk about. There's some big stuff that happens.
The important thing is we're here to talk about Star Wars, and Star Wars is going to get talked about, even if it's a day later and not live.
Yes, that's right. Or whenever it is that I put this up.
Sure. I've also pushed you to late tonight, so I doubt it's tonight.
It'll probably be tomorrow at some point.
Yeah.
But tomorrow's different for everybody. Anyway, episode 7 and 8, we got some big stuff. We definitely want to start with episode 7. What was this one called? Man, it feels like it's been a while, but
I don't know, but this planet is that whatever it should be called is called whatever planet they're on, which I took extensive notes and then left town and left them in my bedroom. So,
I want to say the planet is what, Bracca, something like that.
Bracca. Yeah, love this planet. I mean, talk about taking Jakku on a run for its money, right?
Right.
Because the cool thing about Jakku is you saw it and you're like, wow, this is the remnants of the war, and here's all these crashed ships and everything, and it almost looked like, in between times of putting out Star Wars movies, people did a lot of paintings and drawings, and the big thing was, the image you see from Rogue One is the in-atmosphere Star Destroyer, like the low-atmosphere Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Remember there were like paintings of that and stuff that people would do, like or like an AT-AT on a city street or whatever. Like they would take that became a big thing for a while, and it was really taken to heart when they made The Force Awakens. That's the wreckage as well was something that people had done concept paintings of just as fans. And so seeing the wreckage and everything on Jakku was so cool. And of course later in that series, like we're on the Death Star, the wreckage of the Death Star, and that whole in-atmosphere fight of everything. This planet, I mean, it takes Jakku and it's like, well, what if there were, because that's like crashed ships, that's like the last battles of the war, so we're just seeing the ending of the war. But this is like, well, there's also junkyards, the same way there are for cars. There are actual Star Destroyer and Hammerhead Corvettes and every type of... They obviously just shipped all this stuff to just one planet to trash it. And we talk about Star Wars biomes all the time. There's the snow planet. There's the lava planet. This is the junkyard planet. Like they've found a way to invent new biomes after all this time. I love that. Here we are at a whole new biome. Get it on Disney Plus Star Wars biomes. I want Bracca flyover because, oh my God, and everything's so rusty. I mean, talk about the basics of the Star Wars universe is the used universe. Nothing's new. And that was the complaint on the prequel trilogy. It's like, everything's bright and shiny. We're like, of course, nothing's gone to hell yet. But This is rusty. It's awesome. What an awesome planet. And again, going back to how great the digital effect, animation on this is, like, they just keep challenging themselves, like, make it darker, lit by one flashlight, and just everything is so wonderfully foreboding on this planet. Now, I even forgot why they went there, but I just love this planet.
Yeah, I think there was probably like another job from like Sid or something like that.
Right, they had to get something.
No. Actually, they were. I know that we'll actually get why they went there. I actually just remembered why they went. But I do like that the episode is called Battle Scars, which I think actually like works to, one, what they have to do within the episode, but two, like you were talking about, it's a junkyard planet. We have a biome of garbage and tetanus. So
tetanus, planet tetanus.
Planet tetanus. But so I think this thing starts out there. They did a mission for Sid. They brought this critter back to her. She doesn't know what it's used for. She doesn't care. She's just making her money.
Yep. And she's just Rhea Perlman, as far as I can tell from the voice. Just
exactly
doing her thing.
There is a disturbance out in the bar, out in the lobby area, and we walk out and we find a hooded figure out there. And anytime we see a hooded figure, it's like, okay, who is this going to be? Who are we? Is it someone we've already met in the show? Is Finnick? Did Finnick show back up? What's happening here?
Yeah.
Turns out it's our good old buddy from Clone Wars, Rex.
Right, that's right. Rex was in the last episode. Oh my God, yes. Wonderful to see Rex return.
So we got a reunion with Rex and then Clone Force 99 because they obviously have met. They knew each other.
Because one of them was under Rex, I think, in the Clone Wars, right? Wasn't it?
Echo,
right. Echo was part of his actual Clone Force.
Mm-hmm. So that was cool. I mean, I always I feel like we knew we were going to see Rex show up at some point. I don't know when. Just because it made sense with Rex still being out there somewhere after the end of the Clone Wars, and knowing that he's got to get to wherever he's going to end up for Rebels, he's going to be out there doing some adventuring of his own somehow somewhere.
And, so it just made sense. His chips repaired. We know his chips repaired, so we know he didn't, end up. He's out there just like they are, very similar.
Watching the Empire form and everything, and going, I don't know what to do with this Empire.
I know.
So.
I know.
It does sound like he is at least knowledgeable of the very beginnings of what could be a rebellion forming. So
right.
What I like though is that I believe if I recall correctly, again it's been 2 weeks now. If I recall correctly, he was alerted to the Bad Batch by the sisters Rafa and Trace, by the Martezes.
Oh, is that who we saw at the end of that episode now? Because we've seen 2 episodes end with a mysterious figure, and yet when new figures show up, nobody goes, yes, I got your message at the end of last episode. So I'm like, who were those people? I think now we know who both of them were. So that Rex was one of them.
Yeah.
That was a mysterious figure. And the other we'll deal with in the next episode, yeah.
Exactly. We were trying to figure out who were they contacting? Who were they talking to? They were talking to Rex. They alerted Rex to Clone Force 99. So
yeah. Oh, that's right. I already forgot about those 2 because they're going to come back too. Like they're building a whole cast here one by one. Like Rex comes in, then he leaves, and you're like, oh, he's coming back, And then those 2 show up, and then they leave, and they're coming back.
I mean, they have to be doing something with all of them, right? I mean, these are guest characters that we've seen pop up in like Clone Wars. Obviously, I mean, obviously Rex was in Clone Wars, but we're talking about guest characters who pop up who have roles in other shows or other forms of Star Wars, and it's like, okay, they're not just going to come in for one and dones. Surely they're going to play another role at some point within this series. So,
well, again, I think Dave Filoni's really got his pacing down for these things. I think I'm correct in that Mandalorian kind of did the same thing too. Someone would show up, they would leave, they would show up again, and then by the end of that season, everybody's together fighting the good fight. So I think all of these people will be coming back on both sides as we wrap this whole thing up. So I think Filoni's got his pace down in that way of like introduce everybody as they come along. Then as all the plot threads have the necessities of certain characters, we know, that person swings in and does that. That person swings in and does that. So,
and I'm always a sucker for a good team up. I mean, talking about like Avengers got me going pretty well. So I mean, if you're talking about like, let's introduce a bunch of characters and they're all gonna be important and do something at the end of the season, then let's do it. I'm for it.
I think it's an ideal format. I mean, you introduce Iron Man, but then you throw Black Widow in there, and then she goes away. And then you introduce this, but you got Bucky in there, and then he goes away. So
yep.
It's I like that. It's not, I don't consider that absolutely take what works of the Avengers and apply it to Star Wars. I am okay with that because Star Wars is the original overstuffed universe. They just used to have people not have a line. They'd just be in the background and disappear. And now that we're in, phase whatever of Star Wars, what are we at, phase 6 of Star Wars now? If you include all the animated ones. I mean, what phase are we in if you put it in Marvel terms? But I really like how they build up their own kind of like Star Wars Avengers in a way of like, this is the ensemble. And we know from some of the other animated things too that, these ensembles come back and they just become characters we love seeing come back over and over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
by the way, before we move on, that disturbance in the bar, did you notice this time, because I mentioned it on the last one, that the action figure accurate dressed Hammerhead with the blue tunic? I think that was part of the disturbance in the bar, because I remember him with the translator talking, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, they did have him like in that original costume, yeah.
And the other thing was, and again, this is the thing I say over and over. I say everything over and over. That's what being a Star Wars fan is all about. But that the translator on the Hammerhead, again, one of these cool things, Hammerhead in the bar in the original movie, again, a guy without any lines, the language he's speaking, you can hear in the sound mix of the original Cantina. And when he talks in this episode of The Bad Batch, you hear that garble, that or whatever that he speaks that is then translated. And I was like, that's the original Hammerhead sound effect. Like we talk about all these sound effects being Star Wars characters of their own. And just like hearing that, I'm like, oh my God, that is the actual that you hear briefly when you see him on screen in Star Wars. And I'm like, they brought that back, made that a language, and then translated it. I was like, this is so good.
It's like people who edit together anything Star Wars. They're looking into those files, into the folders of the sound effects, but they have to know like specific species names too. So they know, okay, I need the sound effect of this alien species. I need their exact like vocal whatevers, and this is where I'm going to pull it. You absolutely have to be like an expert at this point in order to know where to draw and which alien you're trying to give a voice to and all that. They
could
insane.
Never hire me to edit Star Wars because I know this. You're an editor as well. When you have like just a file of sound effects or like say it's news stings or something, and you're just ticking them down and seeing which one you want to use. And it's like da 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 whatever. You're going through all these sound or the sound of a punch or something like that. If I was in Ben Burt's actual file structure of like Millennium Falcon sound, Hammerhead sound, Greedo sound, I would just like listen to every one of them. I'm like, oh, this is Adam, do you have that edit done? No. I found 48 variations on the afterburners of the Millennium Falcon. I had to listen to all of them. They're my friends.
I'll get it to you next year. Did you say next year?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Look, I was trying, and then I opened up the file called Jawas, and I just listened to every single Jawa sound. So
I would just play Houdini on repeat over and over and over.
Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like, slide that onto my phone for my ringtone.
So back to this episode, I like what they did here because we've been seeing this storyline with this headache that Wrecker's been having, kind of growing and growing, and the rest of the Bad Batch are aware of it because they're like, oh, he's been having that headache. That's I don't know. We don't know what to do with it. It's just he's had a headache. And Rex is like, I think I know what that is. By any chance, do you guys still have the inhibitor chips in your head?
Right. That is a good reason for Rex to come in, too, is to be like, I know what it is. I have a little experience with this. You guys got to take care of that.
But, I mean, I like because he finds out about it, and then Rex immediately hand on gun, like, nope, I'm not messing with this.
Isn't that a great moment? Oh, thank you for reminding me that.
Yeah, he's like, I've battled this already. I've seen so many other of our brothers fall prey to this. I'm not taking any chances.
that move is a cool move. It's a cowboy move. I get it, but it's also just reeks of experience and what these guys have gone through, and just the fact that his hand goes straight to the gun is a badass move. But also, it's like, oh, that reeks of history,
Exactly. So that's where Rex is saying, like, hey, I see you guys haven't been affected by it yet. That doesn't mean you can't be. So let's go ahead and try to get those things out of your head. I know exactly where we need to go and what we need to do it. We need to go find a Jedi cruiser because that's where I got mine removed. So
right.
That's where he sends them the coordinates to Braca so they can head out over there.
And then what's so great is like trying to do anything in that environment is just so fraught with danger. You have to do the heroic Star Wars swing across a chasm just to get to anything, and everything's going to try and kill you. And there's a Dianoga, the from the trash compactor in the water there. Oh, what a wonderful thing. It's just you think back to like Star Trek, and you're like, they've got 5 in the first season. They've got like 5 species. Those species come back, and it's Klingons and Klingons. But in Star Wars, if Star Wars had Klingons, they would have shown up in Episode 4, and we'd have never seen them again until Dave Filoni's like, let's put a Klingon in this. I mean, that's the equivalent of like, oh my God, the Dianoga, that thing that showed up once in Star Wars history.
That we've never actually seen like the full body of. We've only seen like the floating eyeball or whatever, and like some tentacles.
I'll have to look at that again because it went by so fast, and now it's like a week ago that I watched that because I remember that my cousins had not a lot of kids had this, but this is cool. The actual Death Star playset. I didn't know a lot of kids had the Death Star playset, but at the bottom, and it came with a little Dianoga. But then when I looked at the Dianoga in the books that they published now, it looks different. So that maybe it's just like, obviously somebody's like, I don't know, because they only see the eye in the movie. So they're like, I don't know, build the rest of it, just like Walrus Man's feet or whatever. But I'm be curious which one they settled on. Did they go with like version 1 or version 2? And this, I have to go back and look. But.
Yeah. It is a cool moment though, just to see like just the throwback to, oh yeah, we saw that creature in A New Hope, and now it's back again. So that was really cool.
Yeah, we're on a trash planet, not just a trash compactor. This is its native world almost.
You almost wonder if this is where the one in A New Hope was picked up from, because I mean, the Empire's probably wanting to reuse a lot of like the scraps and stuff, so it probably is picking up some of this stuff in order to put it. In order to build out the Death Star. So I don't know, maybe it got pulled from here. I think there was like actual lore somewhere as to where that Dianoga came from, but
okay,
I don't know.
Nice. Oh, I like that. I like that idea because if they go and pick up some scrap to build the Death Star or something, and and accidentally pick one of those up, and then like, oh, let's throw that in the trash compactor.
Well, I mean, not to fast forward too far, but the scrappers on the planet are aware of Clone Force 99 by the end of the episode because they're turning around saying, "Oh, we got some intruders. Call the Empire."
Right.
So they at least have some connection with the Empire to a degree, and maybe it is just we're grabbing scraps and we're selling it off to the Empire for them to use in some capacity.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is like Rey and Jakku, but on dialed up to 11, because these scrappers are like, this is the real scrap, and yeah, they're going to sell to the highest bidder. They're not good or bad. But they obviously have major contracts with the Empire, who's not going to send their own people down there to scrap. They're just going to. They probably could find some way to haul all this stuff out to space. They're like space Jawas, probably, these guys, It's like more galactic Jawas, not on the small scale that Jawas pick up scrap, but these guys must have like the real deal.
Yeah, this is what Jawas want to be.
Wasn't that what Alien, in the original Alien, is that weren't they like deep space scrappers as well in some way, like that the original Nostromo? I forget, there was some sort of it was a refinery or something, but anyway, they were going out to space to pick up something and bring it back too. So
right,
so anyway, so they do find the equipment to which I was surprised. Our theory was that he would go bad as well, then they would be facing him and Crosshair at the same time, but they didn't do that. They just made this, the focus of this episode was trying to save Wrecker, which is all my heart could take. I couldn't imagine if he went bad and then they had to fight him and then he got to the other side. My heart couldn't take it. They needed to keep him on the team.
Especially because this episode did a really great job of highlighting Wrecker's relationship with Omega and how the two of them have kind of like a fun uncle and my niece kind of vibe to them. It's what it seems like. Hey, mom and dad are away. Let's go grab a snack from the market.
That's a good analogy. Oh yeah, that's right. They go get the popcorn. What do they call their popcorn snack or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. They totally has the uncle and niece relationship. That's a really good call, actually. It's really fun to watch them. They all interact differently with Omega.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. I mean, it's extremely fatherly from Hunter. It's extremely uncle-y for Wrecker. And the other two treat her as equals, I believe. I don't think the other two talk down to her or anything like that. It's just they kind of treat her as equals, really.
For the most part, I mean, we definitely see more from a little bit more from Tech and Omega in episode 8, but in this one, like, I don't think they've given like time for Omega to have like specific moments with either Echo or Tech yet, really. So maybe that's something we still see in the future.
Yeah, that's true. They haven't really defined their relationship yet.
But in this one, I like this though, because we did get that moment where the chip just sets Wrecker off, and so we have to see the entire team have to defend themselves against the muscle of the team.
Oh, right. Everybody now that we did talk about it, like, oh my God, can you imagine everybody trying to fight Wrecker? And we got to see it. We kind of called that out. That was that made what a hell of an action sequence. You know, I mean, these shows are really good at, like, you know, build up, suspense, how they're going to get out of this, and then, you know, action sequence, and then build up how they're going to get out of this. And that was one of them where it's like, oh man, more than fighting a whole bunch of stormtroopers, this is a battle, and it's for a friend. You can't just kill him, you know.
Right, and I feel like this one pushed almost a little bit more into the horror side, like a Terminator style horror, where, you know, you have this like insurmountable force coming against you, and how do you run away from him? How do you defeat him? Because, I mean, while the Terminator was like invulnerable, he's invulnerable because they can't kill him. He's their friend. So
right. Yeah,
it was,
and it's like and the whole episode's kind of like a haunted house anyway, because they're on this planet, you know.
Yeah, I think the whole thing was just set up nicely because, again, it shows that relationship between Wrecker and Omega when he's like coming after her, and she's like, "Wrecker, no, you can't control it, no." And she's that's so traumatic for her too. It's like, imagine your uncle just suddenly decides to strangle you. You're like, whoa, my God, what the fuck? Exactly. And then afterwards, after they get all the chips. We get his chip out and everything, and he's talking to him. And he's like, "Man, that's just a heartfelt moment of I'm sorry, I didn't mean any of that." And she's like, "I know, I got it. You're good. Don't worry about it."
Everything bounces off of her. Yeah, she's. and then they have popcorn at the end too. Whatever the space popcorn.
They had the space popcorn at the end, and then that leads to Rex kind of going his separate way. We don't know where he's off to, but. We're sure to see him again.
He just takes off, I think, right?
He doesn't say, but they do have that communication, him and Hunter. Hey, if you need us, you know where to find us. So that's always that's the line you throw in there to say, like, hey, we're probably gonna bring him back later.
See you in episode 11, guys.
Exactly. Pretty much.
Hey, if you guys need the day saved, you get in a lot of trouble, I'll just come back then. You know.
and then that's where we have the scrappers like, hey, we got some intruders called the Empire, and we got the end of the episode there.
Yeah, it's a cliffhanger. This makes a nice 2 episodes to talk about because both of them are on Braca, and so it really is. These are naturally a 2-part episode that kind of tell one story of being in this particular planet. But then the next episode is all fire.
Next episode I loved. Oh my gosh.
I mean, because of the question, you know, I love Crosshair. I just love Crosshair. And he's been missing now for 2 episodes, 3 episodes, I think.
He's been missing for a good chunk of episodes, yeah.
Not even like a cut back to the Empire. Like, you just don't see what's going on with him at all while they go on these adventures. And so seeing Crosshair come back, I mean, Crosshair has like always been my favorite. I hate that he's a bad guy right now, but I just, I think I cannot watch an episode with Crosshair without doing the Crosshair voice. He's so great. It's just that dripping, evil voice, but he's a good guy. But
He's menacing.
Yeah, so good.
I do like that they, again, like I believe we talked about this before. I do like that they made him the one that is he's the one that's against them, because his skill set plus that menacing voice, he just feels like he's got to be the one to be turned against them, essentially. So.
Yeah, and even as far back as the original appearance of the Bad Batch in the Clone Wars, like, he was the hard ass, like he was the one that called them regs and flicked a toothpick at him and saying, I don't trust regs, so he's always been the hard ass. So to turn him into the bad guy, I guess any of their inhibitor chips could have went bad, but to have it be him, to have it be the most relentless, who might even, without his inhibitor chip, or without even this, he would make the choice of like, yeah, the kid's got to die. We got to get out of the situation. Like even if he hadn't turned bad, he's the guy that would make that kind. So he's really the perfect one to turn bad. So good.
Yeah. So this episode, we got the Scrappers' call to the Empire came through.
Right.
Crosshair is talking to the I believe Admiral, and he's saying like, "Hey, we got a call down on Braca. It's Clone Force 99. They're down there." And is it Lama Su was saying like, "Hey, we should go ahead and try to get them to come back, because Lama Su wants Omega back."
Okay, so here's my question here. Lama Su let Omega go with them, right? That was not a forcible. They didn't steal. I thought they were like, because they don't know how to trust the Empire. They're playing it for their own interests. That I didn't think that Omega went secretly from the Kaminoans. I thought they were like letting her go because they're like, we don't know what to do with the Empire. She's our most valuable asset. Get her out of here, right? So
yeah, it wasn't
a weird change.
This is what's going to be interesting to me, because it wasn't Lama Su that let her go. It was the other one. I forgot her name.
Oh right, not Ton Wee, but something Wee.
Right,
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the other. But she let him go, let her go. So I'm wondering if she did that without the permission, so to speak, of Lama Su. So Lama Su is wanting to bring Omega back for whatever their purposes are. She was wanting to protect her from the Empire. So I don't know if there's going to be a thing between them there as well. That could be something.
Or maybe I was reading too much into they're protecting her by sending him with. I mean, maybe I just assumed, because I'm really interested in how the Kaminoans, who don't have any allegiance, now can't trust the Empire and are very protective of their own technology, a very proud people who are capable of developing their own army, so don't mess with us. Like the idea that Kaminoans have been gone, maybe they were in some episodes of Clone Wars I didn't see, but the fact that they're back as a major force, as basically a Naboo of this story that everything centers around, I'm fascinated with, and I really want them to kind of like, I don't know, do whatever in their own interest to impinge the Empire and help the new heroes. But they call in the bounty hunter, right?
Right. Yeah. So we find out that they're the ones who call in bounty hunter, but not that. So what the interesting thing that they know there's that we called in bounty hunters. So we know that there's definitely more than one bounty hunter that's after them right now.
Oh, because that's a classic Empire move. You don't call in one bounty hunter to get Han Solo. You call in 7 or however many there were.
Yep. And you pay whoever gets them. And
yep.
So basically, Empire sends Crosshair and a squadron down to Braca, essentially just to wipe them out. They're like, they deserted us. Just get rid of them. We don't actually need them. Just kill them. And so Lama Su.
Okay, wait. Now hold on a second. I just pieced something together. I think because the Empire's like, we've received reports the Clone Force 99's on Braca. Go bomb it, destroy it, kill everything. Right. Then Lama Su says, the Empire's going to kill everything on that planet, including Omega. Go get her. That makes more sense. Like that, because that's the flow of that information. That Lama Su's like, oh no, like it was a way to protect Omega at one point to send him with but now they're all going to get killed. Somebody's got to go save Omega. I mean, the hell with the rest of these guys, but you know what I'm saying? That might be the way that worked out. Yeah.
Let's make sure we actually get Omega, back and safe and everything, because we've got plans for her.
Yeah.
So we don't hear anything more about bounty hunters till towards the end of the episode, but the rest of this episode is essentially Clone Force 99 going up against Crosshair. Now they're sitting there trying to like grab a bunch of scraps and stuff while they're on the planet, because they think they can turn around, sell them, make some money, and then pay off their debt with Sid, so they don't have to work with Sid anymore.
Proton torpedoes, they're grabbing all kinds of weapons. In fact, going back to the uncle thing, at the beginning, Wrecker is showing Omega how to dismantle thermal detonator, and that was a fun thing.
So you think I'm actually going to let you try to dismantle a real bomb? No, it's a smoke bomb. Come on, you're not ready for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a funny thing too. Is like, oh, that uncle that lets you do stuff you probably shouldn't be able to do. Is like, oh yeah, you can go play on the rusty swing set. It's like, oh, Uncle Larry. So at first you're thinking he's doing that, like, hey, let's play with bombs, and then he's like, no, I'm not gonna do it with a real bomb. Are you kidding me?
He's like, I'm not dumb. Come on now.
Yeah.
That was a great moment. And then so they're sitting there trying to grab the stuff, and they're trying to get information from the cruiser. That's what happens. So Tech is trying to get the information from the cruiser, because information sells well too in this economy. And so he's trying to pull whatever information off the cruiser that they can. And there's the little red lights blinking, and Omega's like, what's this red light blinking for? He's like, it's probably just a glitch. It's usually there to signify if there's, oncoming aircraft or something flying through, and it's probably just a glitch though. And then all of a sudden aircraft flies through.
Uh-oh. And then of course my favorite line in something like this, I mean, you can't have like an A-Team like show. When someone else shows up, you got to say, we got company.
We got company.
Every time I love that. I'm like, you better say it that way. Don't say enemy ship coming in. No. We got company.
Hey guys, there's people here.
Yeah. Hey guys, there's people here. We got company.
We've got company. I noticed that too. I was like, that's the classic line.
So great.
So they're gearing up for a fight.
So then they do have company.
Yeah, they got some company. That company is Crosshair and the Squadron. So they're about to have to gear up for a fight here. Which is
three squads of stormtroopers.
Yeah,
and I love how the stormtroopers are stormtroopers. I mean, it's so cool that it's so Star Wars that a squad of, we've got something very Clone Wars in Crosshair, a very different type of character, but the rest of them are marching in a line. There's a shot when he oh my God, talk about this is the best shot of all three of these. When those three ships land, the three landing shuttles, when because remember at the beginning of Return of the Jedi, the shuttle comes in. The best shot of Darth Vader maybe in the whole thing is that landing platform come down, all the steam, and then Darth Vader walks through that steam, and then he walks through the line of all the troops. They do that exact shot. The ship comes down, the thing comes down, all the steam, and now it's Crosshair flanked by several, but all the stormtroopers are lined up, and the shot is exactly like Jedi as he walks down, just like talking to Jer Jared or in Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Jer Jared, right? But
your guess is as good as mine. I don't do so well at the Imperial officer names.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. It's fun stuff to know.
But man, yeah, this is the exciting moment, because we got Crosshair is down. Crosshair, so we've already seen them kind of go up against Crosshair already in the series. Crosshair knows exactly all of their tricks, everything that they're gonna do, everything they could do.
He's a Boba Fett. He's brutal. It's like you're in trouble if you're going up against him. He's great.
Yeah, exactly. And real quick, we're gonna take a commercial break. My brother just fed the cat, and the cat food smell is coming into my room. So I'm gonna light this candle real quick.
Wow, what's the cat eat?
I don't know, it's wet food. It's gross. It smells terrible. I'm gonna have. Oh, that's not overexposed at all. Anyway, it's brought to you by Orange Creamsicle smelling candles. That's why I have
continuity. It'll just turn on. We got company.
Exactly. We got company. So we're talking about them kind of go up against Crosshair. So their plan here is to kind of jam their signals so that they can't pick them up or realize that they're on board or anything. They're like, hey, let's try to jam any kind of communication that they have. And Crosshair.
Oh yeah, they're playing each other so well, which is so amazing that they don't lose sight of that when Crosshair goes up against the rest of them. They know each other's tactics. So the jamming communication thing, and they're like, "How about we hack their communications?" And then he realized, and so yeah, well, we'll talk from there. But he, jams their communications, but then they hack the communications of the stormtroopers so they can actually hear what they're planning, and then they get the upper hand for that for a moment. And then Crosshair knew they were going to do that and fed him the wrong intel and then traps him. It's like, oh my God. It's like when these guys go up against each other, they both have to be the best of the best.
It's like a bad game of rock, paper, scissors where both sides are picking the exact opposite thing every single time. It's excellently done. So then what was it? They find themselves in, I don't think I'm skipping over anything. They find themselves in that engine. No. So they're stuck in there, and Crosshair's like, all right, light them on fire.
Oh, wait a second. We skipped one thing, which is really cool, and it ties into that. What's cool is they're in this rusty, terrible, planet tetanus, as we call it. But I love how they use that to their advantage, because when they come into the room with the giant cannons, which is a shot I've always loved from episode 4, is the giant cannons blowing steam out as they're trying to, shooting the laser, trying to shoot the X-Wings down. And then you get a duplicate of that shot. I believe it's in Revenge of the Sith, or maybe it's the fight at the end of Attack of the Clones. But there's another shot of those turrets that are firing out like shells, and the clone troopers are running to shove things in. It's a very World War II type thing. So when they went in that room, I was like, oh yeah, that's another Star Wars character I love, which is those cannons, And then they turn the cannon on because they realize if that thing fires, it's unstable and it'll collapse the roof onto. I mean, what a way to be like, how are they going to get out of this? Then they figure out a way, and they fire that cannon, and it starts, knocking stuff down, and eventually that, takes out a battalion of them, I believe.
Yeah. So I love the tactics. I love everything that they're trying to figure out. The action scenes in this whole series have been pretty good so far in terms of like what's our knowledge of what we can use within the space, within the universe, and it does again, like you talked about that A-Team vibe. It gives them that A-Team vibe because A-Team is always like, what do we got? What do we got around us?
We got a bed spring, we got a bucket of bleach, and a picture of Eve Arden. That's an old MST3K joke.
All right, we got it. We got what we need.
We got what we need, everything we need. Yeah, so that's the how they get out of this one too, which then, but again, still not out of hot water. Then it leads them to the engine, which is the coolest. That's a really, because I believe what Crosshair got them into the engine so he could turn the engine on and burn them all to death, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
What the plan was? And what did they do to get out of it?
They've got the lucky for them, they grabbed these little bombs while they were scrapping around that they just happened to have what was necessary in order to get themselves out of it, so that they could set all the charges around and then just blow the whole thing and ride it all the way down instead of getting blasted by the engine flames. Which I thought
it looked like a big version of like the X-Wing engines extend pretty far out behind it. It looked like a huge version of that. So they set the charges on the inside of that engine, and then the whole thing fell off, and then
I thought that was a really interesting direction they could take it and say like, hey, we know this thing's crashed, it's done for, but there's a way where the engine can still work on a lot of these. So you're still getting the cruisers still kind of work a little bit. Oh, that's really cool too. It's a neat little thing.
And also just how gigantic the moment of lighting that engine is, because that's the thing, all these things the very first thing we ever see in Star Wars is a Star Destroyer engine, but you don't see someone inside one till Rey is scrapping, and then she comes out and you see just how massive that is. It's the same sort of thing here, and I forget what ship's engine that is, but they're inside this giant engine. It's just the whole perspective thing is you can always get closer to a Star Wars vehicle and have a whole different adventure and idea, and so they're doing that great guns in this one.
Yeah. And so they get out of that situation, and then the engine's just blasting Crosshair in the face at that point. And so he's like, turn it off. And so you're seeing him like take some like heavy fire damage, some heavy wounds.
And we don't see the result besides the fact that they take him away bandaged up. So yeah, I get he's probably going to look a little more evil with a burned face now in the next thing. But I also wondered if that knocked some sense into him. He could go good from that. It knocked him against the wall, which is what jostled Wrecker's brain chip loose before and made him start going bad, was because he took a couple hits to the head. Well, Crosshair just took a big hit to the head. So the question is
that enough?
Yeah. Is it enough to make him understand what's going on enough to get the inhibitor chip taken out, you know?
Who knows? I mean, it just remains to be seen. Like, honestly, I think Crosshair is going to be probably within the Empire control for most of the season.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like, yeah, I mean, they could do anything at that point, especially like after he takes such heavy damages. I'm afraid. What I'm really afraid of is that at some point Crosshair is going to be in a situation where he gets killed in combat, so to speak, and that's Omega essentially rises the ranks and becomes the new Crosshair. She earns the new moniker of Crosshair, which, I mean, that could be something that happens. I mean, you see her with the little bow. So
yeah, she's a markswoman.
Exactly.
What I can see happening is that, you know, the next time, you know, they find out about Clone Force 99, the Empire goes, send in our best of our best. And it's just going to be different for Crosshair next time. He's going to have one of them dead to rights and can't pull the trigger, I think is what's going to happen next time. And then maybe exit that adventure, but then it's just going to start getting a little weirder for him. I'm just curious what he's going to look like. Is he going to look all cool? His burned face?
Is he going to look like Vader before he put on the black helmet?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So where this episode goes next is what I'm really into.
So out of the frying pan into the fire, out of that fire into another fire, and out of that fire into the fire is what this episode basically is. And the final fire is
one of my favorite characters being introduced from the Clone Wars. This is a character that I've even talked about while we're doing these. I want to see show up in live action, and I think that we're getting a way to that. We're reintroducing a character here, and we might get this character in live action. So the Empire's trying to get a hold of their troops who are currently guarding the Bad Batch's ship, and none of them are answering the call. So we cut to them kind of all being wiped out. Like, who did that? Who wiped out all the stormtroopers who are guarding the ship?
Oh, that's right. I forgot. That's how the rest of them get taken out. Is another ship comes in, or another person. I don't think we see a ship, but yeah, some other force.
Yeah, and we see Hunter and
whoever
Omega.
it is very good. He's very good at killing.
We see Hunter and Omega show up and like, what happened here? This wasn't us. And cut pan to the ship. Boom, Cad Bane. Hear that Western theme. You see Cad Bane and his little droid. I forget the droid's name.
Yeah.
But
sidekick, I forget.
The two of them, and it's just the fact that like throughout all of this time, I can't remember the last time we saw Cad Bane, whatever episode that was, but it's been quite some time. And
he was not in the last few seasons of the Clone Wars, was he? Not that I remember.
I don't believe so. I think
Cad Bane's episodes were like season 3 and 4 or something.
3 and 4, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, and that was it for Cad Bane. So this is a pretty triumphant return.
It's huge because I mean he had like even a role to play with was it Zero? Like he was doing stuff with Zero the Hutt and all of that kind of a story continuation from the Clone Wars movie and everything. So this was really a really super cool moment though, because again, Cad Bane is one of my favorite characters from the Clone Wars. It's the same reason that people just latched onto Boba Fett back in the day.
Exactly. He is the Boba Fett of the Clone Wars cartoon in the same way of like he came, he did awesome stuff, and then he disappeared. And you're like, oh, that character was awesome. I want to see him come back.
Yeah, and just to have him back, and he's He's still in that Western garb, and then you get that whole standoff between him and Hunter, which
oh my God, this is just so spaghetti Western. Not just any spaghetti Western. This is Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The final fight at the cemetery. I mean, obviously Filoni's a fan. There's a lot of Western, a lot of Django, the real Django, going on in The Mandalorian. And I remember not Hondo. I remember Cad Bane's stories from. Now I got to go back and watch it. I mean, I've been trying to go back and watch all the Clone Wars, but now I really got to go back and watch this. But I don't remember a Western theme. I mean, in this one you have all the little sound effects that you would hear in Morricone's score when people are facing off. Not the but like the ting, 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 like all the little things. All of that is in the score of this, and that's got to be a first for Cad Bane. I don't think he was ever treated pure spaghetti Western. This is Dave Filoni having gone through the mixer of The Mandalorian, got all of his favorite Western tropes in there, and now he's like, all right, Cad Bane's coming back. It is full spaghetti Western now. Because they go into there's a great YouTube video analyzing the final shootout in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I don't know if you've seen it, but it says, like wide shot, medium shot, close up, extreme close, and how they go back and forth until it's eyes, shoot, like you get
sweat on brow.
Right. And this does it. I mean, I can't believe what's so great is it goes to the Cad Bane's eyes, but then it goes to Hunter's eyes, but of course they're behind the visor, but it still gives you the exact same spaghetti Western close-up. And then, they're both reaching for their gun, and then they both shoot at the same time, and it's so good.
And you get that poor miss by Hunter, blasts the droid's booster off, but gets caught in the chest by Cad Bane because Cad Bane does not miss his man.
He doesn't. No, Cad Bane doesn't miss.
And so we see Cad Bane takes Hunter down, grabs Omega, and basically runs off with Omega. And
boy, do we have a cliffhanger.
Man, that's such a cliffhanger. Which makes me wonder, and I mean, we can have a little bit of time. We can theorize about that. Is Cad Bane working with Fennec? Are they working together? Is Cad Bane the one that Fennec was reaching out to and talking to before, the mysterious figure that she was talking to in that one cliffhanger episodes before?
Oh, right. It has to be Cad Bane, right? Because we figured out who the mysterious figure was in the other episode. Was
Rex. Yeah.
Rex. So yeah, the other mysterious figure. Yeah, absolutely. So that's
and we know the Kaminoans sent the bounty hunters out there, so we know who's essentially paying for the job to be done.
Right. Well, that's interesting because then Fennec must have contacted the Kaminoans in some way. I don't know.
I think it's either that. It's either Kaminoans or she's working with Cad Bane.
She works for her own team too. Is she just like Cad Bane?
I hope that she is working with Cad Bane specifically because Fennec is involved in the Book of Boba Fett. And I would like to believe, again, I am hoping that we get a live-action Cad Bane in the Book of Boba Fett. Oh my
Chris,
gosh.
I'm just going to say it. You're getting a live-action Cad Bane in the Book of Boba Fett. You are we get whatever we want now as Star Wars fans and pop culture fans in general. We get whatever we want. Somebody said to me years ago, they're like, if they only make a Moon Knight TV show, my favorite superhero, by the way. And I'm like, it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. The only problem is I won't be able to direct any yet because I don't have a directing career. But anyway.
And then they casted Oscar Isaac, and I'm like, man, I wish I could direct an episode of that.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think Cad Bane's definitely coming in the Book of Boba Fett because I mean we're reintroducing him right here, and we're potentially putting a connection between him and Fennec. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
you got all the pieces.
Double sure that connection between those two, a character that made its first appearance in the Mandalorian, and bringing this back and connecting those two. Oh, and the fact that they just went full Western with that shootout, that was awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's too bad that Hunter got shot. But, boy, hey, what a radical shot after he did, though. His point of view is they drag him onto the ship. Never seen anything like that. That was radical. There's I think someone's pointed out, there is one point of view shot in all of Star Wars. And it is weirdly when Anakin leaves Tatooine, he says goodbye to C-3PO, and we see C-3PO's point of view as he says, well, I'm sorry I won't be able to put your skin on you or whatever. And somebody's like, that is the only point of view shot in all of Star Wars. Maybe in the animated there's others, but...
There is actually one more in live action, and it's when, I just remembered it, it's when Anakin's getting the Darth Vader suit put on him. You see the helmet.
Right.
You see from his perspective the helmet coming down, which was...
amazing shot that is.
Great use of the point of view shot for sure, right there.
Oh, right. You're right. That is what a great point of view shot that is. That's a good one.
But yeah, no, I really enjoy that because it kind of reminds me of like the video game, the first person shooter video game style, and to be able to get into this world at that level is actually really cool. That's what I love about this series so far is that they're kind of experimenting with a lot of different stuff in Star Wars with these guys. They're like, look, here's characters that we introduced in Clone Wars. You don't know these characters. They didn't exist in Star Wars lore before. This is it. We're just going to do whatever we want. We have the freedom to do that. And I think that's what's making this show so great.
Also, a tiny little thing that I just love is it's always been my dream to go onto one of these ships, to actually like I remember in episode 4, I mean, I've seen that movie 100 and 200 times, but you only see certain parts of Millennium Falcon, and it's only later that they walk from this one part you saw in one movie to this other part that you saw in another movie. And so you start to, in your head, you're like, oh, that's how you, whatever. And then in Solo, a Star Wars story, you see the full Millennium Falcon. But more importantly, the best thing that had never happened in a Star Wars movie was we followed them all onto the ship and got to board the Millennium Falcon when they're taking off from Kessel. And so this one, too, kind of had that geeky moment. As I know where his point of view, but I'm like, oh, I'm boarding their ship. This is so cool. And you see, like, oh, that's where that board is. And that's how, oh, that's where the computer console is. And you got to go around here. Anyway, I love that stuff.
Yeah, it really shows that they have to actually like think about the actual layouts of the ship to make it make sense. That way they can do something like that.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if they how much detail is in the Millennium Falcon that's in Galaxy's Edge over in Disney. I don't know
if you can board the Millennium Falcon, right?
I think you can actually board that one. Yeah, I know that there's like a ride or something that's intertwined with it. I don't know.
Oh, that might be. Maybe you board that to get in the line ride or something, or
maybe I don't know. Yeah, obviously it's.
Galaxy's Edge. The day I actually board the Millennium Falcon, if you can actually walk on board that thing, and that looks screen accurate when you get on board that thing, I mean, it's just. Would a dream come true? I mean, since I was 5 years old, going, I want to get on that ship.
You're like, that's it. I hit my peak as a Star Wars fan. This is exactly what I've always wanted.
There seems to be no peak, Chris. That's what's great. There's no peak.
It's true. It's very true. Anyway, the episode ends with that cliffhanger. We've got to get Omega back. They got to go after Cad Bane now.
Well, this is a reset of the board. We've got Crosshair injured, maybe jostled his chip. He's gonna have a whole new evil look. He's gonna be his face is baked now. You got Hunters down, and Omega is kidnapped, and they got to stop Cad Bane if they want to get that kid back. But Cad Bane's gonna take it back to the Kaminoans, right? So they can just go back to the Kaminoans and go, "Hey, did Cad Bane drop her off here? Cool." I don't know.
So here's a different wrench in this plan. We think that Cad Bane's working with the Kaminoans. They could be throwing us off completely. Kaminoans could have said bounty hunters. Maybe he's not working with Fennec. Maybe he's on his own and somebody else wants Omega for some reason.
Oh, you know what? I think you're onto something, because when the Kaminoans said we're sending bounty hunters, they immediately cut to Crosshair's ship, and I was like, and then just briefly, I'm like, at first I was like, oh, here come the bounty hunters, and I'm like, oh, those aren't bounty hunters. I kind of forgot about it for a second.
Yeah.
But you're right. They don't necessarily connect those all one-to-one.
I mean, it might be the simple answer. It might be that Cad Bane is retrieving her for the Kaminoans, but if I know Cad Bane, he's also going to do what's best for him. He's going to play to the highest bidder. If someone else is out there going, we'll take her for much more.
Yeah, I think you're onto something. Well, yeah, that could be one way, but also I have a feeling the bounty hunters the Kaminoans called we haven't seen. I think you're onto something there. And that they, whoever they are, because it's going to be like a more good bounty hunter than Cad Bane. The Kaminoans are played as good people in this. That they're not played like bad. Yeah, I know there's some, you could have some ethical issues,
Yeah.
But I think basically they wouldn't call Cad Bane. They would call somebody else that's a little more. I think we could go. Oh, okay. I would want whoever the Kaminoans called to go get Omega would be someone I would want to get Omega for the Kaminoans. They're not played like the bad guys.
Send in IG-88.
Send in IG-88. Right.
Let him go get Omega.
Send in a Bosk. Send in a Dengar. What if they send in Dengar? What if we have yet to see Dengar or Zuckuss? I'll tell you, Zuckuss and 4LOM. I mean, these are unfounded. They didn't even show up in any of the Clone Wars. They didn't even show up in Rebels.
No, yeah, I don't know. I don't remember seeing either one of those two in any of that either. Yeah.
There was the brief arc where young Boba Fett hung out with like 3 or 4 bounty hunters, right?
Bosk, Dengar,
Dengar,
Aura Singh, I think.
Right, that's right, Aura Singh. So yeah, Zuckuss, 4LOM, they're back in Hammerhead. One appearance, with nothing else for them. So I want a 4LOM episode. Give me some 4LOM. I want Book of Boba Fett. I want Zuckuss, 4LOM. I want me some Dengar and definitely Cad Bane.
That's what I'm saying. I really think the Book of Boba Fett's going to give us the seedy underworld of bounty hunting, and we'll get all of our favorite bounty hunters popping up at least once or twice in that show.
Because you know about Star Wars, what is it called? Underground? Star Wars?
Sounds familiar.
Gangland? It's a word I can't think of right now, but George Lucas was developing a Star Wars live action show, I believe, that was all Star Wars Underworld, I believe.
Yeah.
And that was, and so Dave Filoni's like, I like that idea. George didn't get around to that idea. I can do whatever I want. Well, what if we called it the Book of Boba Fett?
I think that's exactly what we're going to see. That's exactly what we're going to get there.
I think so.
But that about wraps it up for those 2 episodes. I think there's a lot more exciting stuff. I mean, there's still another 6 or 7 episodes left.
Going to what is it? 11, 12, 13 episodes? Yeah.
Something like that. I think it might be 16 even. So
yeah. So 6 or so episodes left. So this was episode 8. Yeah. So at the
6
very
to 8
least,
episodes.
6 to 8 episodes left. I'll have to look that up. But man, it's starting to heat up. And I really, going back to what you were saying earlier about the action in these shows, it's tempting in the first few episodes to go, oh, not much progress is being made. Obviously, it's all adding up as we predicted. Yeah. But also, I just love how they put forward, what's a good action sequence? I mean, George Lucas had the trench battle early on. We had to get there. He had... what about sword fights? Yeah, sword fights, but with lasers. Okay, well, what can I do with that? You know what I mean?
With lasers.
Lasers. But the idea that they put in these episodes too, that the action sequences and this whole planet that planet Tetanus and all the action within. They're still doing basically what they've done on those lighter episodes, putting the action forward, but it's just everything's starting to really add up, and that they're just in a total spot now. This is a real cliffhanger, and I'll bet you, knowing the show, they don't answer a lot of the questions we just asked in the next episode. We'll have a continuation of something. Obviously, there's some injured people and some things, but I'm going to bet that not all of that gets answered in the next episode, and then we move on. Although I was surprised that Wrecker happened in this episode. We thought that was going to be a much more drawn-out thing, too, his chip. They went right at that plot line.
I definitely think that, they're not going to be able to get... they might get to Cad Bane next episode, but I do believe they're probably going to go back to Sid, and Sid's going to have to tell them about Cad Bane, like she told them about Fennec. So...
Yeah,
that's probably what we're going to see.
Yeah, they're going to have to find out. They're going to have to figure out, again, impossible. How do you track down Cad Bane? It's going to be a mission that they're going to figure out a way. They're really screwed right now. So now we're going to really get to see them figure out a way out of this, because they're the best of the best. They're so good.
Yep. So that's, like we said, another 6-8 episodes, guys. We're still going to be covering them all here on the Bad Batch Breakdown. I don't have a special funny name for the show, but I like the alliteration of Bad Batch Breakdown. So
Bad Batch Breakdown, yeah.
Bad Batch Breakdown with Briss and Badam.
Yes.
Kind of fell off there a little bit.
Adams and Adam.
Yeah, there you go. We got it. We got there. Guys, we are doing these every other week now. So
Which I
whenever
think
this
is
goes
good.
out,
It's nice. These two was a perfect way to do the every other
it was.
week because I love how these added up, and so hopefully the next two will be kind of a similar, the way that those two will go together.
Exactly. Next two being episode 9 and 10. So by the time this comes out, it's not going to be this Saturday that we'll be live. We're going to attempt to go live again the following Saturday. That is when we'll go ahead and try to push this too. So come back on the channel. We're going to go ahead and try to do it again live. Hopefully all of our technology works for us then.
I think so.
And
I think I'm set up here now in my terrible backdrop. Maybe I'll get a better backdrop by then. If we do it earlier in the day, I don't even have a good shot of Vegas out the window.
you can't give me like the all the hotels and everything out there.
No. This direction here is just part of this hotel. That's the Vegas Strip over there. Across the hall, out that window is the whole Vegas Strip. I was kind of hoping I would get it, but I'm not here for luxury. I'm here to work.
Here to get the job done.
Get the job done, just like the Bad Batch. I'm going to get this TV show shot.
The Dad Batch, as we like to call them for Father's Day, because they're a group of dads to Omega.
We are recording this on Father's Day, and the Dad Batch is a very good call.
Except for Wrecker, who's the fun uncle.
Yes, the fun uncle.
The Funkle.
The Funkle.
Adam, you're doing all sorts of other stuff, right? Is there something that you want to let the people know where they can find you and what you're doing?
Check back in. If you've lost faith that Paul and I stopped doing the Ford Fiesta, which is the podcast that documents every single movie in Harrison Ford's history, you just got busy. Sometimes you hatch these plans and there's a thing called quarantine and why don't we do all these shows? And then that became every other week, and I think we went a third week on this one or something. But anyway, Star Wars will be out on Monday. Is that tomorrow? I don't even know what day it is. Yes, tomorrow I believe will be a new episode, which is with Ken Knapsack. We're bringing in other guests, a friend of ours who's willing to watch some of these early Harrison Ford movies, but our first certainly a guest that would be known to the audience of this show. Ken Knapsack is on this episode, so we sit down with Ken Knapsack and talk about Star Wars, which is Harrison Ford's follow-up to the movie The Conversation.
Yeah. Well, that's a good one too, because Ken wrote the book Why We Love Star Wars. So he's always a good one to bring on and chat about Star Wars. He knows his stuff. And I think
the very first moment he writes about in that is Han Solo coming to save the day at the end of the trench run, which is and all that says. He reiterates a lot of that on the show, but all that says about Han Solo, and even he goes back to saying what people said in Solo: A Star Wars Story was that Han Solo was a bad guy, not a bad guy, but much more on his own side, and that showing the heroic side of him with Enfys Nest is a bit of a misstep. And man, the way he defends that is with a swift stroke, a well thought out on Han Solo for Ken Knapsack is no, that is absolutely in line with him coming at the end of the Death Star to save the day. That is not a mistake at all. So it's always good to hear him defend Solo: A Star Wars Story. Also,
it's a seed that was planted in Han's head that grew later.
Yeah. Are you saying there's a chip inside Han Solo's head that makes him a rogue? No.
Execute order, Han Solo goes bad.
Yes. Execute order, make Solo 2 happen.
There you go. There it is. Well, guys, this is also the Cinefanatic, so we are doing all sorts of things on this channel. Best place that you can find us, obviously, is going to be on this channel, but you can find us at Cinefanatics MLP, both on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me specifically at Chris Adams MLP as well at those two locations, but we're doing all sorts of stuff. If you want to check out anything extra we're doing, boom, that Patreon link up there, that's the best place to do it, because that's where you're going to get access to the Discord where we talk about movies and all sorts of stuff there. It's super fun. We're doing watch-alongs. We got a couple watch-alongs coming up within the next month or so. So you're going to want to check that out, as well as movie trivia nights. I mean, me and my brother are both part of the First Class League for the Movie Trivia Schmodown. So we're doing some study sessions and everything with our patrons over there. It's really, really fun to get in on and kind of help write questions and get in there and help us become someday belt holders within the first class league.
FCL, yes. These guys are major winners in the FCL. If you're not catching up in FCL, in fact, I think because the YouTube episodes that I have to edit and put together air 2 weeks after Twitch, so I think your match might be up on YouTube this week. Is it 2 weeks?
They're delaying it right now because right now they're kind of reorganizing where stuff falls between the two channels. So it is coming. Right. I believe it is up here pretty soon.
I bet when they realign the channels, I bet your match will be up there. But I think I'm working on that one after this actually. But yeah, it's really the FCL is such a great thing because it's especially for you and your brother, like you guys are great competitors, and I feel insane in the Schmodown trying to hit fastballs off of Nolan Ryan. But and you shouldn't have to hit fastballs off of Nolan Ryan to be considered a decent baseball player, Right? So it's the FCL's a real joy. It's and man, as of FCL 12 and the belt given away, I'm like, that's must watch Schmodown now. That took about 10 or so episodes it took like about 5 episodes to truly find its footing, but to become must watch absolutely adjunct to Schmodown Entertainment is like, as of FCL 12, as of giving that belt away, and as of that match that went into how many questions into overtime? 10?
Like 10, yeah.
10 or 12. It's like, all right, that's a real Schmodown match. There's like the difference between where this meets up with the MTS has closed that gap. So yeah,
look,
watch you guys over there.
Those of us who are competitors in the league have our own opinions about what happened with the belt match.
Yeah,
but
controversy. Did I miss something? I don't pay attention to shit.
Regardless.
Yeah.
FCL is definitely worth a watch, and you should all check it out. Twitch.tv/.
The point is, go to their Patreon. Even if you're not, they're trying to butter you up with. I know because Paul and I have threatened to start a Patreon for several years now, and they're going to butter you up saying, "Oh, there's all kinds of extras and stuff." But you know what? Just tip them out. This is like a nice fine dinner. You see all the stuff that they put out there. Same thing with Paul and I when we started our Patreon. It's like, just go throw a tip in. What's your lowest level there? $5?
Here's the thing. The $5 one is going to be the one to hit for sure. $1 gets you Discord access, but the $5 one is where you're going to get a lot of like really good content, like the watch alongs. And anytime we have a match, we do replays of the match, so you can find out what's going through our heads during those actual matches. So the $5 one is the one you really want to be on.
But I mean, but people are like, I don't know if I watch a couple of these things or whatever. I don't know if I have time to watch all that. It's not about that. Go tip these guys out. I mean, they're just they're busting their ass creating content here.
We're trying to anyway.
Yeah. But it's enough. I just want to say to anybody that's like, do I want to do it? It's enough. You're already getting enough. Now tip these guys out.
I appreciate that. Well.
Yeah, what can I say?
That's going to wrap it up for what we're doing here, guys, on this 2 week, however, on this Bad Batch breakdown,
fortnightly.
Guys.
It is a fortnightly report on the Bad Batch.
The fortnightly breakdown of the Bad Batch. I love it. It. It's great stuff. That's going to do it for us, though. So, guys, we will catch you next time. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. Since we weren't live, we weren't able to get chat interaction this time. Leave a comment down below. What did you like of these 2 episodes? Let us be able to read that and bring it up next time. We would love to be able to shout out any kind of comments that we get on these episodes. That'd be fantastic. Leave a like, because that really helps out.
The video. What's that going to hurt? That didn't even cost you $1.
Huge.
Come on.
Huge.
I just end this episode just pissed at the audience. Come on. What?
Come on. What's wrong with y'all?
Chris, I'm out of here. I just can't even.
Especially speaking of things that are free, subscribing on YouTube is also free. If you like what you see here and you want to see more content from us, hit that subscribe button. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And it really helps us because we're trying to get that subscriber number up. So
yeah, absolutely.
Anyway.
It matters. It matters. It matters.
At the end of the day, we appreciate the view, and we hope that you come back next time.
Right.
So we'll.
And if you didn't like it, see the see the bursar for a full refund.
Of nothing, of goose egg.
It's a Paul F. Tompkins line I stole.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Well, guys, we will catch you next time. That's going to be it for us. And as for Adam, as for myself, as for all of you.
I bid you a fondue.
Fondue. Ooh. Fondue. Okay.
All right. Well, that was fun.
Normally I would play the intro out here, but I think I could just edit it.
Edit it in, probably. Or,
just
I mean, you can
edit
play
it
it
in.
now and then just cut this part out if you want. If it makes
That's
it
true.
easier.